Yeah, hi guys.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Welcome, and shall we initiate the program?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. Natasha, you may start.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natasha. I am the Joint Secretary of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. And on behalf of the association, I welcome you all to today's event, Jashn-e-Azadi, celebrating 75th Independence Day of India. Here the heroes. To begin with today's program, I would like to invite our President, Mr. Kalpen Shukla, to give the welcome address.
Thanks, Natasha. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kalpen Shukla, President of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. It's my pleasure to welcome all the participants for this very special program on occasion of 75th Independence Day. On behalf of IIT Delhi Alumni Association, I offer our greetings to the nation and join them in the celebrations. We are indeed privileged to have one of the most eminent army officers to address this session, one who has seen it, done it, and successfully managed it. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant General Devendra Pratap Pandey, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, a decorated 3-star ranked General of the Indian Army. Lieutenant General Pandey commands the largest and most operational corps of Indian Army with more than 1 lakh troops. IIT Delhi has a very cherishable association with Lieutenant General Pandey, as his father was a professor at IIT Delhi, and therefore he belongs to our extended family of IIT Delhi. I also welcome Mr. Vishal Batra, a senior banker by profession. He is more widely known as the brother of Captain Vikram Batra, who is a Paramveer Chakra awardee for his unparalleled bravery and acts of valor during Kargil War. Captain Vikram Batra is already a name that resonates with every household for his supreme sacrifice. However, his real life story is now being told on a screen. Mr. Vishal Batra is joined by Mr. Shabir Bhai Boxwala, who took upon himself to tell the most inspiring story of Captain Vikram Batra through cinema reels. He is the producer of movie Sher Shah, the biopic of Captain Vikram Batra. Before I close my session, I would like to make a few quick remarks. I look at our situation in 2 phases, pre and post-independence era. Freedom is the best legacy that we have inherited from the past, and that is what we must cherish with highest respect for the martyrs and the freedom fighters. There are numerous unsung heroes from across the length and breadth of this nation who have sacrificed their lives and well-being of their families. Each sacrifice, however small or big, has taken the nation closer to winning its hard-fought independence struggle and earning our freedom. However, the post-independence phase will have its own different challenges. While the territorial protection will always need brave army people, and they have successfully kept the Indian flag flying high, the future battles are going to be technology driven. The pace of technology advancements and development of newer and probably more lethal weapons would need strong efforts from technocrats and researchers. IIT Delhi alumni have performed commendably well in wide-ranging spheres of activities. It is time they started exploring opportunities to work at developing homegrown technologies and solutions that can facilitate operations of our armed forces. It's a turn of the technocrats and scientists and businesses to make the nation self-reliant and more confident in terms of its ability to defend its territory as well as its citizens. IITians and other technical graduates have a significant role to play. Summarily, we are obliged to leave a legacy that is better than what we inherited. We must engage ourselves actively in promoting and creating Atmanirbhar Bharat that will also remain independent Bharat forever. Like all other participants today, I am keen to hear the views and thoughts of our dignitaries. Thank you for attending this program. I wish you all a very happy Independence Day once again. Take care, stay safe. Thank you. Over to you, Natasha.
Thank you so much, Kalpen sir. So before we begin the program, I would like request all the attendees that in case you have any questions that you would like to ask our speakers, please post it in the Q&A session of the Zoom, and we are surely to take it up later. And now I would like to share a small video with all of you. This video is about the journey of hosting 100 feet Indian flag atop Hari Parvat, which is the heart of Jammu and Kashmir, also the geographical center of Kashmir and Srinagar. This was done jointly by citizens of Jammu and Kashmir Army and CRPF Jawans under our Honorable Chief Guest, who is the General Officer Commanding of Srinagar-based Chinar Corps. So while sharing this video, I could actually feel goosebumps, and I could just remember these words, कुछ नशा तिरंगे की आन का है, कुछ नशा मातृभूमि की शान का है, हम लहराएंगे हर जगह ये तिरंगा, नशा ये हिंदुस्तान की शान का है. And thank you. So now starting with our event, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Lieutenant General Devendra Pratap Pandey. A brief about him. So as Kalpen sir has already mentioned, he is a 3-star ranked general of the Indian Army with immense operational experience. He is responsible for protecting line of control and conduct of counter-insurgency operations. He is commanding the largest and the most operational corps of the Indian Army with more than 1 lakh troops. He has served at the front line in all parts of country and all type of trains, from the jungles in the northeast and the Kashmir to the Siachen glaciers, from cold wind sweep deserts of eastern Ladakh to the hot deserts of Rajasthan. And having served 6 times in high altitude areas where the paucity of oxygen sucks out life, the officer has seen it all. Currently, on his 7th deployment in Kashmir, he has seen all facets of counter-terrorist operations. He was deployed in OP Kargil as well. Interestingly, Journal is an alumnus of Kendriya Vidyalaya, IIT Delhi campus from 7th grade onwards. So he has spent many years in the campus. I welcome you, Journal. So the stage is all yours now.
Okay, firstly, Jai Hind to all, and a very happy Independence Day to everybody who's attending the event today. I must just correct something which Mr. Kalpen has just said. My father was not a professor in IIT, but I was a student in IIT campus, and he was a professor in Gorakhpur University, of course. But I was very fortunate to just be in the IIT campus as well. At the very outset, I would like to compliment your IIT Alumni Association of Delhi for conceptualizing and organizing this event to commemorate the 75th Independence Day of our great nation. It speaks a lot about your patriotism. So my salute to you. In the same breath, I would like to also thank Mr. Kalpen Shukla and the team. And of course, Rakesh Bansal, who's happens to be my classmate and close friend, for inviting me to this event. I can lay a claim to have studied in IIT, even so only in the campus. All through my studies in Kendriya Vidyalaya, IIT, I used to wonder what toil it takes to study and work so hard for so many hours in a day to join such a prestigious institute. I joined the army thinking I won't have to study anymore. But to my horror, the studies in the army never finished. We continue to study and gain qualifications even today, late into the service, to keep up with the changing trends in warfare, or else we will perish. Along with the continued studies, by the way, we also got to climb the mountains and jungles and carry out operations. So it made our job difficult. I at times wonder, should I spend more hours studying that time to be an IIT alumni? I was asked to share my experience as a soldier, and I started thinking that what makes a soldier? What is required for a soldier? The love for motherland, national flag, the spirit of every Indian, that to make the country proud. I think these are few traits which make a soldier, which are soldierly traits. And I think each one of us who's sitting across along this online discussion, we all have this little bit of soldier and this traits amongst us. You all have the qualities like discipline, commitment, diligence, long haul motivation, which are all required by a soldier as well. You are, by the way, also the best brains, not only in the country, but also in the world. IITians have made a name for themselves across all fields and across the continents and oceans. While you may all do exceedingly well in your personal lives and make a name for yourselves, it is imperative, and that is my view to you, to remember your people, nation, and the proud heritage we belong to, that has contributed towards your success, what you are today. Please do always remember, it was the nation which gave you an opportunity, even though the struggle was all yours. Despite the modern way of living and the thoughts, the thousands of years of history, rich culture, and heritage of this great nation, which was at one time the envy of the entire world, should not be forgotten by us, and especially by you all, possibly who are much above in the intellect and intelligence than any common citizen of the country. I'm not talking about the corrupted version of today, but the truth about the golden ages for which we were attracting traders, educationists, and of course, the marauders from across the world. Because, my dear IITians, people who forget their core culture are destined to become rootless. And even the great Chinar tree, which is found in abundance in Kashmir, is nothing without its roots deeply entrenched. Your brilliance and commitment should always contribute in whatever way possible to get our nation to the brilliance and greatness for which it was renowned across the world, while at the same time being the consonance within modern changing times. What I want to talk to you is about the boom of the disruptive technology that is altering the way of living in lives, living in ways we could have never imagined a decade ago. Right from remote precision surgery by a doctor across 5G network to employment of swarms of drones in the battlefield, the future, my dear IITians, will be in the hands of those nations which have a hold over such disruptive innovations. You have a major role to play. Today, technology has become a major driver for formulating doctrines and concepts in every field, including modern warfare, wherein it affects us. For our country, on one side, there are new threats on the horizon, while on the other, the legacy challenges with regard to our unsettled borders and therefore the threats to the preservation or territorial integrity cannot be wished away. This is the hard reality that needs to be factored in all our future calculations. As they were overwhelmed in the legacy domains, our adversaries have now focused their energies in the ambiguous gray zones. We need to transform our game and need to anticipate and innovate. There's a requirement to realign the doctrinal precepts, techniques, and procedures to adapt to the new reality. Like they say in the military, we should not be training and preparing for the last war. Our adversaries have shown a great inclinations toward non-contact warfare, and hence we need to develop our prowess in the domains of space, cyber, and the digital dimension. I will request you all to kindly focus your energies towards these directions. Capability development across the nation must foresee threats and evolve accordingly. The military capability development today is not the sole preserve of defense industry alone. The race for cutting-edge technology has led to an unprecedented civil-military fusion, and your brilliance, your commitment will have a major role to play as never before in the past to include transformation in human capital. Chinese National University of Defense Technology, as part of its 1,000 talent plan, has recruited 10 top offline professors across the world to drive cutting-edge military projects. The US Army Future Command has signed MOUs with 300 top colleges and universities to propel cutting-edge R&D in defense. These examples are largely to give you a flavor of which way the world is headed. In the Indian context, the twin challenges of COVID and the brewing trouble on the northern borders have brought out the vulnerability of the global supply chain, highlighting the criticality of self-reliance and indigenization. Towards this end, the outreach by the armed forces to the industry has empowered local players and startups. Here too, your alumni and brilliant minds need to innovate and create a revolution for enabling the Indian Army and the armed forces to modernize for the future. For our nation to reach the pinnacle towards attaining self-reliance in its rightful place in the world order, the brilliant minds from your alumni can lead the way. As a common citizen of our wonderful country, my message and request to you all is to reach out proactively and empower our people and the armed forces. We protect the nation so that you all can enrich us from within. I'm so grateful for your service. Continue to be on the same path. Jai Hind, and I'll take any questions, any queries here and after. Thank you so much. The good part of an online conversation is that you can't hear the applause.
That is true, but
Thank you.
that was very inspiring and very motivating talk, General Sir. I will take one clue from what you said, and it is very rightfully mentioned by you. IIT Delhi alumni have been at the forefront of entrepreneurship. They have been doing exceedingly well in terms of developing homegrown technologies. It is our earnest desire that we would like to motivate more entrepreneurs to look into the areas which are related to defense equipments and strategies. And therefore, during this year, we propose to create some kind of a contest where not only IIT Delhi alumni, but even outsiders, other graduates also would be allowed to participate. And I'm very happy to mention that General Narwane has promised us that he would come to the campus and he would love to see the development that may take place on this campus. So taking forward what you have suggested. I hope we should be able to fulfill the dream and desire of this country as well as the army men. Give us some time and we will certainly come back to you. So now, with your permission, I would like to ask you one or two questions which may sound very simple to you, but we would be very keen to hear from you. It would be slightly ridiculous to ask, but what was one of the most challenging times, and any anecdotes from those days that you would like to share with our alumni or our participants? I'm sure life is challenging every day, but nonetheless, I still would like to hear something.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I must share with you that I never ever thought of any other career other than army. And I always read those, silly books when we were youngsters called Commando comics and books from Maclean series and Frederick Fawcett and such like things wherein the soldiers went across and did X, Y, Z for the country and nation. I never thought of any other career ever. And so, I went to join as a soldier after having passed my 10th examination. And somehow that NCO or the soldier who was across the table, he said that, son, come after about a year or two, and I think you got the capability of becoming an officer. But tried as much. I cleared my written examination every time, but I couldn't crack the SSB. And, you come to a cusp when you are just about getting to the college to decide one way or other that I'm not likely to make it to the National Defense Academy and should I go ahead with my college time. That was possibly the most testing time for me, for a young boy of about 16, 17 odd years, unable to decide this way or that way. And as always, twice you go to SSB with great hope and you fail and you just bunk it out. And I was not very sure what they were looking for. So eventually I finished my 12th and I was just about to join college. In fact, the college has started and there I made the crack. I made to SSB and I was through for National Defense Academy. But the next part, the most difficult part was to go through the academy itself. That 4 years of training is actually back-breaking, where they try and teach you science, arts, everything. And they wake you up in the morning at about 5 and let you sleep at 1 o'clock doing all sorts of study, silly things. And then they asked you to crack all your examination and pass by some grades and all. It was, I can assure you, it was horrible. But yes, coming into service per se, my most defining moment has been when my soldier has died in my arms. And somewhere in the South Kashmir, in an operation which was encompassing of a movement of about 4 to 5 odd days, I lost my commanding officer and 4 men in an IED blast in South Kashmir, somewhere on exactly 30th May 1995. When something of that nature happens, you don't know what to do at that point of time. It was just about 50 odd meters away from him. The entire vehicle is a heavy jonga which went up to in the into the air to about 50 odd feet. And when we put the pieces together, there were 5 bags, not even knowing which body part was whose, and we just sent it out across. And that point of time to take the revenge is that very, very terrible time, because you want to kill anybody who comes. And in an infantry where I belong to, the bonding is too strong. And to control your men, you must be hearing a lot of wrong stories about army. I can assure you, the discipline and the motivation which our boys have, even face of extreme adversities, is immense. And within few days, something else happened, and there's a boy who was in front of me, got shot, and he's holding my hand and he's telling me that now you are here with me and I'm sure that I'll live. And I kept on lying through my teeth. I knew it is not possible. When I could see his guts out onto the street, he had taken about 5 to 6 bullet gunshot wound in stomach and the groin. I can never forget that night. So that's a defining moment. One realized that you may train, you may do everything, you may have to practice, do whatever in the organization in army, but there are things which are beyond your control. So these are defining moments. Actually, there are many with when you serve 7, 8 tenures in Valley and Siachen Glacier, something tells you there is something above you who controls the levers. You are just a pawn and you need to live your day every day the way you should, to the best of your ability. So I can carry on giving you stories, and I can assure you there are actually immense number of them, but these are experiences which make a person what he becomes eventually in the life.
So extremely well said, and I'm sure you have probably range of experiences across the borders, and therefore I can understand the kind of situations that you would have gone through and you would have faced. But that's an amazing control, amazing calmness with which you face these situations, and we feel very grateful that we people live a very peaceful life, because there are people who are facing the bullet somewhere, sometime. Sir, in fact, I am motivated to ask you one more question. Since your decision was certainly at a different phase and out of probably certain level of confusion or uncertainty back of the mind, but your only son has also joined the army. If I understand correctly, he's a serving major. How easy or how difficult was that decision?
Extremely difficult. And to be honest, I have been instructor in National Defense Academy, where I used to motivate officers to join infantry, which is possibly the cutting edge of our army. And when he was offered, I was in US for about a year. He did his 10th from Washington, DC. And he was selected for Honor Society, and he was offered to stay back with all full fees and everything paid. And I was promised, we as a family were promised for his, getting his green card and whatever, that he'll become a permanent citizen of the country. Somewhere that 1 year which he spent, and which I didn't understand, made him much more patriotic than me. Because there, one thing what he saw, that every American, he may be a child, old or something, he was very, very proud of his nation. He was very proud of his country. Each house had a flag outside of the US, fluttering. They always used to, the moment there used to be their anthem, US anthem, they'll stand and, they'll respect. They used to go to the cemeteries. We were staying next to Arlington Cemetery, just about a kilometer away. And the amount of respect people used to pay to the military and to the organization, to the flag, was something I think which changed his mind. And when this offer came across to him, we didn't want to take a decision. He took a decision for himself, that if this country can be so patriotic for themselves, why can't I be patriotic for my country? So while I may feel very great about myself, but I definitely have great respect for my son. And when the time came to join academy, he was also preparing for IIT and things like that. But there was a young officer from one of the local units who came to deliver a school and lecture in the APS. And somewhere that joker corrupted the mind of my son to join army. And because he's the only child, me and my wife is also an ex-army officer, VRC, decorated soldier of 1971's daughter. We both knew what goes for an army officer or soldier, what you miss out, what are the rights which you surrender once you put on the uniform. And we didn't want him to go through the agony of all that. So we definitely tried to convince him not to join army. But somehow he and his friends, there were about 10, 15 of them, who just wanted to join nothing else but Indian Army. And oh, by the way, he got through NDA, he got through a thing called TS, Technical Entry Scheme, which is 10+2, wherein he does about BTech. So we were able to fool himself and convince him not to join NDA, but go for Technical Entry Scheme, hoping that he'll join a technical service. But there is something which clicks for a soldier, for an officer to opt for a combat arm. I am not able to put what is there, what is the reason. There is something which goes, some screw which is down here, which goes dhila and all, which compels you to join and take the indignity of living in a small room of, in a small room, not even a half a tent, in a shack of just about 3x6 or 3x8 for this thing, facing enemy fire, shelling and everything. When you go out to even crap, you just don't know how you'll go. The basic things of daily living is denied to you. But there is something which goes wrong in the mind of a soldier who, decides to don the uniform. And that is what makes us kick. That is what makes us stick. That is what the difference is, that once we make up that mind, we don't want to see anything else but to join combat. And once you join combat, like I'm from Sikh Light, he's also joined the same regiment. The bonhomie, you possibly nobody can understand that when you give a decision that, okay, we are going to face death together, it's very different. No amount of money can drive a man to go to his death. You must have seen Kargil, Vikram Batra's brother is there. Something drives this group of people to go up in the open when the RT shells are pounding you, the firing is coming, a guy entering a house when he knows there are 2 terrorists inside to kill, take a bullet, die. There is something which happens as the bonhomie. We live together, we survive together, we fight together. There is something very awesome about our uniform and the organization. So when you ask me this question that why did he join, I always wish that I hope he didn't join. You know, I have not met him for nearly a year. We are able to talk to each other only once in about 5, 6 days, 10 days. He's busy in his work, I'm busy in my work, and our timelines don't match. We're living in the same time zone. But are we proud of each other? Damn well, we are.
Thank you, sir. I think we have heard the story of a very bright and brilliant soldier making his career ahead, and we would be proud of hosting him another day. Having said this, I just have one small request. What would be your message to this audience, which has probably not been through this kind of trials and tribulations and not seen the kind of hardships, and probably in some small way have seen a life of entitlement? Because we do know that when we enter the corporate world or we enter the business, we see a very soft side of life. What would be your message to this audience, which is primarily of IIT alumni?
Okay, I'd like to state something else. For me, climbing a mountain may not be such a difficult part. Facing a bullet may not be difficult. But maybe sitting in that AC room in a corporate world to manage the finances and documents may be more challenging. So I'm very sure that we each, in our different role and avatars, have got our own challenges. So I will not like to be in your shoes, definitely at any point of time, because when I see people working in the corporate world, the challenges they face, the unsurety of future in so many other ways. Like in our case, it may be with life. In your case, it may be with some other facets. So, well, I think we all have our own challenges. But my only message to you all will be that you must live your daily life. You must live it, enjoy it, and try and do something for your country. This is something which comes to me all the time. That is what drives me every day. I get up in the morning, one does so much of work, 7 days a week. That is the passion which comes out. If you just think that somehow I'm going to look after one man, one family, I'll do something today for my country, for our people. I think that's the message. You guys are so good. IITians, my God, you are cream of cream of cream. You're the select elite lot. You may do anything. You have to actually look after us, to our country. My message to you all is, आप कितना भी पैसा कमा लें, आप कितनी भी अच्छी जिंदगी जी लें, आप कुछ ऐसा करें कि आपके देश की जो हैसियत है वो आगे बढ़े. कम से कम 5, 10, 50 लोगों को. I always salute a person who may be a shop tea stall owner who gives jobs to 5 people who can feed their own. I can't do it, but my salute goes to that person who creates job. So try and, because you people are so intelligent, you must try and create jobs for people. These are 2 things. If you do, I think there cannot be more greater thing for our country. This is my message to you all. Life is tough for me, for you. If you feel it is tough, it is easy if you don't feel that way.
Thank you, sir, for calling us cream of the cream. But let me assure you, each one of us would like to be in your shoes. And therefore, the aspiration value is that we would love to be where you are. Although we are enjoying comfortable life, but the uniform that you don and the activities that you perform are absolutely enviable for every single citizen of this country. So we respect, we salute your valor and courage. We people are comfortable and we are able to do something meaningful, as you rightly said, in different space of life. But it is all because we are aware that there is somebody somewhere who is taking care of us and our nation. So nice of you, sir. It was absolutely wonderful, very inspiring. We would have some small request for you to stay with us for another 10-12 minutes. We have run a series of activities and we would like to announce the winners of those contests. So I shall request my colleague, Dr. Gitanjali, to take the session forward. Dr. Gitanjali.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to have you with us, General Pandey ji. दिल से आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, जो आप सब हमारे लिए कर रहे हैं. And now to tell you all, we had 1 full week to mark India at 75, and along with that, we also are marking the Diamond Jubilee of our institute, and tomorrow happens to be our foundation day, IIT Delhi's foundation day. So in this backdrop, we decided to celebrate, to dedicate 1 whole week to India at 75. So we had 7 days, full 7 days packed with events. And the first was our poetry competition. So we had close to 20 entries, and we were very surprised when we initiated this, because people were like, IITians kahan poetry itni likhte hain? And when we were very surprised when we received a lot of entries, and I had to restrict 1 entry per person. We had like 6 entries and 4 entries coming per person. Then I had to restrict, no, please, one per person. So we had the event, which was actually, the keynote was addressed by our very, very renowned poet, Mr. Mahesh Garg, who is with the railways. He's popularly known as Bedhadak. So we had 20 for contestants for the poetry competition. And I request General Pandey ji to announce the winners. Sir, we had promised that we would be giving the winners the top 3 won. So the first prize goes to Mr. Arun Joshi, second to Dr. Kavita Gupta, and the third goes to Mr. Anil Bhatnagar. So I think if you permit, I would request, if they are around, Mr. Joshi, I can see you. Would you like to ask something to General Pandey ji? Do you have anything to say, Mr. Joshi, Mr. Bhatnagar? I think you both are with us. Satish ji? Yeah, they are from IIT Delhi. They are alumni. Yes. Natasha, have you made them panelists?
Yes, I have added Arun Joshi.
Yeah, Arun Joshi, and I think Mr. Bhatnagar is also there. I saw him. Yeah, Mr. Joshi,
Anil Bhatnagar also promoted to panelist.
Yeah. So, Mr. Joshi, congratulations. Would you like to say something, please?
Oh, well, I mean, you're very right about this point that IITians don't write poetry normally. In fact, I've been working for the last 35 years, and I began to write poetry only in the last 5 years.
Congratulations, Mr. Joshi. And Mr. Bhatnagar?
I was a romanticist in an IITian, and
okay,
I always stayed alive. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy that I got the first prize.
Congratulations once again. Mr. Bhatnagar, are you with us, sir? Mr. Bhatnagar?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Would you like to say something?
Thank you so much. I only want to say that I am pleasantly surprised. I wrote this poem 25 years ago, sometime in 96, 97. And when I am taking bath, I'm generally, singing it. So that's how I remember it even after 25 years. When I was to participate, I was at a different place. I did not have this poem with me. So I have written more than 20 poems, and most of them I remember by heart. So I typed it there and then sent you. Thank you so much for considering it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. I had the pleasure of reading all the poems that were submitted. So congratulations, everyone. All of those who participated in our poetry competition. And now I am pleased to announce the winners of the poster competition. Sir, just to tell you that these competitions, they were open to IIT Delhi alumni and their families also. So for the poster, we had entries by, I think, the children of our alumni. And if you would like to announce the names, sir, I think the names of the poster competition winners, they are with you. So would you like to announce the names, sir, please?
Is it with me? Hey? I don't think so. Do I have?
Sir, I think Rakesh ji shared them with you. So
Just missing.
Sir,
I'm sorry,
sir,
I sent it on a WhatsApp and to Colonel.
I'm so sorry.
sir, rest assured, we don't have your mobile number. None of us has your mobile number.
It was slightly late, but it is with you now.
So we have Pragati is number 1 and Shravani is number 2. Congratulations to both of you.
so applause to these. Yeah. Is Pragati or Shravani with us? Or their parents are with us right now? Okay. I think now we'll go to the next competition. And sir, I would request you to announce the winners of the quiz competition. The quiz competition, actually we have a renowned quiz master, Mr. Tejinder Jassal. So he's been taking care of these competitions for close to 40 years. So he's very, very popular.
Okay.
And this was Independence Day related quiz. So it was a very specific theme-based quiz.
Theme-based quiz, yes.
Okay, that's great. So we got the first winner is Manish Manu sir, and number 2 is Mr. Hemant Rao. So congratulations to both of you.
So thank you so much, General Pandey ji. It was our pleasure and indeed a great honor to have you with us, sir. And now I would like to hand over to Rakesh ji.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Lieutenant General Pandey, for being here today, despite of your very, very extremely busy schedule. I understand you have to leave now, so we will continue with the rest of the session subsequently. If you wish to stay, you're most welcome, but we understand you are hard pressed for time today. And in fact, you have a very, very busy schedule in the morning when you dedicated the flag on the Hari Parvat to the nation, and you have another very important commitment right after this meeting today. Heartfelt gratitude to you. In fact, we are extremely honored to have you here today and listen to your motivational words and your anecdotes from your life. And in fact, it is a especially proud moment for me to be here since I was a school mate with you, and it's a very, very proud moment for me. I can't really express myself in words. Fondly addressed as the DP. I remember you were always, your ambition was to join the army and nothing else. So while all of us were struggling to understand what career we will choose, or in fact, probably we never even thought of having a career, we were always focused that so I have to join the army. So congratulations to you, and we are really proud of your achievements today. Now we wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, and thank you everybody so much. Kalpan Shukla ji, I'm so grateful. And I must tell you that when I was driving back after this, me and the LG Saab of UT JNK, we dedicated this the flag Tiranga monument to the nation today. And when I was driving back, I could see it fluttering. I can assure you, it gives you a goosebump. It was fantastic to see it. And I drove all along the Dal for about 20 odd minutes when I was coming back to my camp. And it was very, very nice to see our flag up wherever it is. And I'll just request you all to be just proud of your nation, your country, your flag, your constitution. I think that is what makes us kick. That is what makes us different from so many other countries in the world. We are so many colors, creed, caste, religion, millions of people, millions of different entities, but we all live together under that one flag, that is our Tiranga. So salute to the Tiranga. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind to you all. Thank you so much. Thanks, Rakesh. God bless.
Thank you, General Saab. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, General Pandey. Thank you.
Thank you, General Pandey.
So over to Natasha, back to Natasha. Yeah.
Thank you, General Pandey. Thank you so much, Rakesh sir, for the thank you note. We are over with the first session of our event, and now let us begin with the second session of this event. And moderator for this part would be Mr. Gaurav Goel, who is my fellow EC member at IIT Delhi Alumni Association. Our first speaker is Mr. Shabir Boksala. He is a very well-known senior producer in the Indian film industry and has been working since 1989. He's a seasoned filmmaker who has created iconic movies in the past and has created the biopic of Paramveer Chakra Captain Vikram Batra, Shersa, which has been recently released. Over to you, Gaurav Goel and Shabir Boksala.
Thank you, Natasha. Shabir bhai, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Hi. So
Hi.
welcome, Shabir bhai, and hello everyone. I am really honored to welcome a very dear friend, Shabir Bokswala. Like Natasha mentioned, he is a seasoned filmmaker, a true friend, and a very humble guy. He has been in the industry, and I believe he has created iconic movies. Everyone, all of us, we have seen his movies from our childhood. Once again, welcome Shabir Bokswala to IIT Delhi Alumni Association platform. So Shabir bhai, we will begin with some questions, some questions that we have received from our audience. And my first question is basically, how did this idea came to you about making a movie on such a challenging subject, which is, creating a movie on army and Paramveer Chakra Vijeta Shri Vikram Batra. Please share your journey from idea to taking this movie on the floor.
First of all, I would like to thank you all for having me over and wish everybody a very happy Independence Day. This is the 75th year, and it's very special because we could manage to release this film, which we've been working for the last 4 or 5 years. And now it's come at a very apt time. COVID had in between spoiled, but I think so whatever happens for the best, because there was not a moment where, we never had planned it that we'll come around Independence Day, and it's come in an apt time, and it's evoked so much love and patriotism. I'm getting calls from all over the world, and they're appreciating our Indian hero, Captain Vikram Batra, and his bravery and valor, which is, I couldn't be more happy because it's reaching to the world. And in this 5 years, my journey, I have such immense and high respect for the army men, the men in uniform, because in fact, right now, General just mentioned that it was so difficult for him to get his son into joining the army, the decision. the same way when I learned about Vikram Batra, he had so many options, and he had got a very, very rosy job in the Merchant Navy. In fact, he got the uniform also ready and very high paid commercial job, but he let that be and joined the army, instead. So such passion, these people have, we in our common life never think of, because we're always busy making money and trying to secure our life. But they try to secure the whole nation, which is unbelievable, and to think about the whole nation. So, in fact, I read about him 4 or 5 years back through a friend I met who was wanting to make this film, and he told me, unfortunately, he wasn't part of the project later on, but he told me about Captain Vikram Batra. And staying in, in a city like Mumbai, where we are not exposed to army life, I knew who Captain Vikram Batra was, but, you don't know the depth of the involvement, and so I started reading about him on the computer, and I was astonished. I said, this is like a real life hero, why are we taking our heroes and making films? So this story has to be told. So we made all the efforts to go and meet the parents and the twin brother. I think so Vishal is online also. Without him, this thing wouldn't have been possible. Yeah. So, and I was so fortunate. I don't know what good deed I had done that God blessed me and they gave me the rights to make this film. And today it's out and everybody's loving it. And I now miss those 5 years, and of my life. At one time, I used to think that, this is such a tough job, but I wish I could be on the field every day and interact with army personnel, because every day you learn a new thing from them,
Correct. No, Shabir bhai, it is amazing. And let me tell you, I have seen the movie since its release 4 or 5 times. And every time I have seen the movie, I've got the goosebumps. And believe me, if I would have seen this movie in my childhood days, I would surely be in army today.
That's what exactly we wanted. The Vishal's brother, and we wanted more youngsters should get inspired, because everybody's today, the youngsters, they don't know exactly what profession to take. Like Colonel Pandey's son knew exactly what he wanted to do. But a lot of youngsters in his age, they all want to live abroad, have a good life, and secure themselves, make a lot of money. But to have this kind of passion, I think so we have managed to evoke it, because people from world over are realizing what a soldier goes through and what he does for us. And I'll be very happy if 2% of people, youngsters who watch this movie and join the army and, serve the nation.
Shabir bhai, we want to also learn from your experience, like when you thought about the idea of making a movie on such a challenging subject. You met the family, and thereafter you started interacting with army people also. So how was your interaction with the army when you sort of decided to make a movie on this? Bringing that thought to reality, it takes a lot of challenges. Please share your experience with the audience on this.
Firstly, when I met the family, they kind of took us through his whole life, because they were the best people to tell what he was, because people had seen the bravery side of Vikram Batra, but what he was from a child to, the time he joined the army. From there onwards, he was known as the Sher Shah. But the Vikram, which the family only could, and his close people, his associates, who had worked with him in the army, who had studied with him in the school, and they could tell us, what Vikram was when he was not in uniform, and it was so fascinating, his whole life journey, that I would have to actually make a 5-6 hour movie, because each stage of his life was interesting. Like I'll tell you a small incident. Like when he was 13, he hailed from Palanpur in Himachal, where they have zigzag roads. So in a school bus, while they were traveling, the door flinged open, and there was a girl who got thrown out, So without even thinking for a minute, he jumped out of the school bus and saved the girl, carried her to the hospital. So I think so. And that was the same thing when he was fighting the war. He never used to think. He just said that, his line was, "Koi ek chalayega to main panch chalaunga," And that's what he did on the war field. So that passion and that courage was inbuilt in him, I think. So God had given him to become a hero, So, and when I researched about him also, I felt this was like a movie. And how can one not, you couldn't ignore it, you had to make the movie. And I said, whatever it takes, I'll take my best, abilities, all this 25 years, put it together and try and make the best film which the whole country can and the world can see, our Indian soldiers, what they do, because this was the toughest war.
Yeah.
No soldier in the world would have fought this war, because the enemy was sitting right on the top, 17,000, and our soldiers were on ground, and there was no way you could attack aerial route because the altitude was so high. So you couldn't fly, and these guys were pinpoint targets. And hats off to them that they agreed under the commanders and fought this war. And at every stage, I met a different officer, his commanding officer, like he's the general of the Northern Command right now, Y.K. Joshi, and who was his commanding officer. So there was great support from him because he knew Vikram very closely because he fought under his command. And then all his colleagues who fought with him, So every time I interacted with different army officers, with my writers and directors, it was a different experience. Every time we used to come out of the meeting thinking, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
They used to share the experience. We are just shooting a movie,
Right.
These guys were real, real heroes,
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss that, and I'm going to soon plan another army movie because I think so. There are more heroes there, and everybody's story needs to be told. So,
wow. So Shabir bhai, amazing. This is like a amazing, thrilling sort of journey, which like, in the last discussion, our Kalpen sir was discussing. In our corporate life, typically we deal in the AC rooms and sort of, we plan various kind of strategies of how do we do marketing, how do we take care of financial aspects, but creating a movie and sort of bringing a thought into reality, an amazing thing that you have sort of achieved. So Shabir bhai, while doing the shooting on the real location, it was so challenging. So you choose the location of Kargil only. I'm sure there must be a lot of challenges while this journey you were shooting the movie. So would you like to share some of the challenges that you faced actually on the shoot?
Yeah. See, it was, unfortunately, the dates we were actually going to shoot, the 370 article was declared. And that really turned our planning upside down, because all our movement was through Srinagar, all our equipment trucks, all our cars, crew, they were all going to travel from Srinagar to Kargil, Dras through. And so we had to change and land people in Ladakh and, get people from Ladakh to Kargil. And not ours, but the entire traffic route, our equipment, trucks, and a lot of people traveling had to move around from Manali, and there was a jam. So for 2 days, we couldn't even locate where our trucks and equipment were, and we were so tense because the cast was there, everybody's there, the crew is there. And finally, it got delayed for 2 days, but the trucks and the equipment, they managed to come, and then we shot. This was the first Hindi film shot in Kargil, and it was very exciting because the realization that the actual war was fought there, So
Yeah.
we could feel the vibe and the mountain, the terrains we selected, my director selected, were very, very difficult. The Rocky Mountains, they were exactly what the soldiers fought there. And for our actors and our crew to every day take up the equipment and bring them down and an altitude of 13,000 feet. The oxygen was less. So it was a task, but once we went Kargil and all the cast and crew, they saw the planning, and they all knew, they all had read about Vikram Batra, and they had the josh, that if they could do it, because here we'll get a lot of takes. They didn't get many takes, So so they were very, very, charged up about this film. So we got a lot of support, and in fact, the army also had immense support. Vishal Batra, his brother, connected with YK Joshi so closely. His agenda was also that the story should be told, So he really helped us out. And though things were difficult, we had things available, in those circumstances also, because Pakistan was just across the border. And 370, we could have been soft targets also, If any mischief had to be played, So,
Amazing.
So once, but still our entire unit, our director, everybody, worked tediously day and night, and we managed to, you've seen the film, capture those moments.
Amazing journey, Shabir Bhai, and really lot to learn from your experience. So Shabir Bhai, after this movie and sort of, I'm sure you must be planning something new challenge. And, in this platform, what message would you like to give to IITians who are part of the world, who are part of their journey in corporate world? What will be your message to them after, after your experience and your journey with the army?
Like whatever we choose to do in life, we have to do it with total dedication and honesty, and you'll achieve your goal, That's how, and be disciplined, because I've learned a lot of discipline seeing these army guys, they're so disciplined. So these three factors in life, you be disciplined, be focused, and work hard, because it's not an easy life for these army guys. They sit there in minus 40, 50 degrees, trying to protect us. And it's amazing when you see them, because I've been a couple of times in cold weathers also, and seeing these Jawans, they're on duty. And it's like very teary to see them in those conditions. For months, they don't go home, see their family, which is something unconditionally they do this, and we need to respect them even more. And I feel that the army is there, so we are sitting safe at home.
No, definitely, Shabir Bhai, and this was really amazing. And I would now like to call audience if there are any questions, queries that they want to ask, their experience with Shabir Bhai while he's here. Kindly post it on the chat. So Shabir Bhai, we are receiving a lot of comments.
Everybody's loving Sher Shah, and I'm feeling very happy about that.
Right. Yes, and I'm sure all the attendees and panelists, they have seen the movie. So Natasha, over to you now. And Vishal has joined us. So over to you. We'll invite Vishal now as the next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Shabir. Now welcoming our second speaker, Vishal Batra. He is a retail banking and financial service professional, having an overall experience of 20 years. He has rich and varied experience in the banking domain, and well known as he is the twin brother of Paramveer Chakra Captain Vikram Batra. I welcome you, Vishal Batra, and we'll learn more about you from about your experience of working so closely with the army and the Batra family.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting over, and thank you so much, Gaurav, for having me here. And first of all, let me wish everyone a very happy 75th Independence Day. And it's great to be talking to all of you. So, please go ahead, whatever you wish to know, I would be more than happy to answer anything. So once again, thank you so much, Gaurav, for making me a part of this small journey, what you're doing along with all your alumni. And thank you so much, Shabir Bhai. Just heard you, and it's always good to see you on the screen.
Vishal,
Hi, Gaurav.
Yeah. So welcome, Vishal.
Thank you so much, Gaurav.
कुछ लाइनें मुझे याद हैं जो मैंने अभी आफ्टर सीइंग मूवी ऑफ शबीर भाई, सो आई एम पिकिंग इट फ्रॉम देयर. एक फौजी के रुतबे से कोई बड़ा रुतबा नहीं होता, वर्दी की शान से बड़ी कोई शान नहीं होती, और देश से बड़ा कोई धर्म नहीं होता. दोस्तों, आज हमारे देश के सबसे बड़े सेना मेडल परमवीर चक्र से सम्मानित कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा, उनके ब्रदर श्री विशाल बत्रा, he is with us and we will remember him. He is always with us and there will be many things for all of us to learn from him, from his journey. So all of us, let's welcome Mr. Vishal Batra in this show. Thank you, Vishal, for joining all of us.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
So, Vishal, we want to learn from you. How was your journey with Vikram as your brother, as your friend, as your partner in crime? Please, help us all understand. How was he as a kid? How was he as your, buddy, as your friend? We all want to hear from you about your journey with him.
Sure, Gaurav. So Gaurav, let me tell you, I think first of all, I would only say that I think I'm just fortunate to be blessed to be a younger identical sibling to Vikram just by 14 minutes. And we had a very beautiful childhood, which was full of laughter and pranks. And we were so identical that a lot of times it used to happen that I used to get beaten in his place and he used to get beaten in my place. And a lot of times mom and dad also used to get confused. Our nicknames were Love and Kush. And we both were very, very, I think we were one of the best pals with each other because, look alike, same age, same height, same characteristics, when we were growing up. So we were, one of the best buddies. We were one of the best brothers. We were one of the best confidants. And we both were very, very keen sports persons, right? We started playing table tennis at the age of, 8 years, I think, if I remember it. And we went on to represent, all India nationals, in table tennis, in judo, in karate. We were amazing roller skaters. And we both were very, very keen sports person. But, one thing which definitely Vikram had, which was different from mine, was that Vikram was very, very dynamic in terms of his attitude and a very, very bindas attitude, right? Though I would say that he was a very normal and a very loving human being, a very loving human brother. But I think he rose to the occasion when it was actually needed by the Indian Army on those mighty peaks at 17,000 feet when we talk of or think of Dras and Kargil. But, he was always a go-getter. He always wanted to win. And I still remember very well that when we used to have any championship in the school and primarily centered around table tennis because that was the favorite sport we used to play, though we played almost all the sports. He wanted to, he always wanted to sweep all the trophies which used to be there on the table, be it on any sports function or the annual sports day. And I think very good in studies. He represented school even in the national levels in the youth parliament, which typically today we call as the Model United Nations, right? So we could see some spark in him, which was slightly different from me. While we were identical, we had most of the traits which were very common to us. But if I have to give you one differential, I think I was a little more submissive. I was more compromising. It's okay, chalega yaar, koi baat nahi, agar aisa nahi hoga tabhi chalega, right? But Vikram, if he used to decide it once that he has to do it, he'll make it a point, he'll do it. So that was, something what Vikram was made of, I believe.
Amazing. Vishal, how was the reaction of the family when he decided to sort of join army? Was it like, very challenging because the background of the family was not from army? And like we all learned, your dad was a teacher and you were also planning to go into corporate world. So how was the reaction at home?
So let me tell you, so let me correct this. So it was never a dream for Vikram. We both knitted the dream of joining the forces together. Wow. And I'm twice not recommended by the board, and I always end up saying that Army never wanted a second Vikram Batra. One was enough for them, right? So, and our dream, Gaurav, to share with the audience around, it started, there used to be a very famous serial in 87, 88, titled Paramveer Chakra. I don't know how many people would have seen that serial. So that was the first trigger, when we really liked the bravery of and the heroics of every Indian soldier who was winning and donning a olive green. And we used to wonder that how could an individual human being be so different, right? And एक बहुत पुरानी saying है, not पुरानी saying, it's a reality that every human being is made of 5 elements: Jal, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi, or Akash.
Yeah, yeah.
And we always used to wonder that what is that 6th element, what a soldier is made of. Right. And I always used to believe, and whenever I go to Kargil, this is the first thought which cripples my mind, that what is that 6th element? We can always say that 6th element is a courage. But everybody is a courageous in his or her own words, right? But what that courage is also so different for a soldier. So that was the first trigger which we realized. And secondly, what happened, Gaurav, when we were studying in the school, we used to go to a school called Kendriya Vidyalaya, Palampur.
Yeah.
And Palampur used to be a brigade during those days. Now Palampur is a division now in the Indian Army. So our school was centered at the heart of the Indian Army cantonment.
Wow.
And the only thing what we used to see was only men in the green color gypsies, the green color jongas, what we used to call it, the green color 1 tons, 2 tons, 3 tons. And the entire circle we made for the French during our school days, right from our 8th standard until we passed on 12th from that school in 1992. It was all the kids of a brigadier or a colonel. Oh. And post that also, what happened that when we came to DAV College, Chandigarh for our graduation, because Palampur was a very small town. Again, fortunately, I think as the luck would have it, since we had a dream, we ended up, making a group of the people where again, out of 10 people in the group, 8 were from the armed forces, barring me and Vikram. So I think that got too much into the head. And of course, we realized during those school days that the quality of the life what Indian Army provides, right? I've been in the corporate world for 22 years, but let me tell you, you tell me to go to the forces today, I'll quit my, whatever lovely job I have and I'll join today. Unfortunately, it was not in my destiny. But when we looked at the quality of the life, be it in terms of the quality, in terms of overall quality, be it in terms of the confidence what the army officers give to their kids, be it in terms of the sports facility, we never had the luxury being into the civilian life, a luxury of having a squash court or a tennis court or a swimming pools. We could do everything in those 5 years when we started in that school, and primarily we got that opportunity to interact a lot with the army officers' kids, right? So I think the army, typically I think overtook our mind share as well as the heart share, that yes, it is not about just making the money, it is also to do something different in life rather than only looking at a corporate world. And hence, the idea of joining the forces started from there. And that's a different story that Vikram made it in the first time. I went twice, I went for the 3rd time, but it didn't happen for me. And I think I had no choice, but I always call it a casualty that I'm a banker, I'm a senior banker in the corporate world, but I had to settle in for the corporate world because army didn't let me in.
No, it was amazing, Vishal, and we all are really proud of you and Vikram Batra. And it's a I would say it's a proud for all the people across the world. What he has shown, what he has done, the courage, and the inspiration for all.
Absolutely.
So Vishal, when he joined the army, and he become a army officer.
Yep.
So how was he as an officer? While your interaction with him. So when you are a civilian versus you are an officer, the life changes. Yep. And you have seen that journey. So how you have seen him as an officer?
So let me tell you, Gaurav, there was a lot of preparation which went in making him an army officer, because when we both moved into DV College Chandigarh, we both joined the NCC. Vikram was an NCC Air Wing, and I was a part of the NCC Army Wing. And to be honest, while our interaction during the school days with the army kids, we got to know that you have to be very, very disciplined when you become an army officer. It's in a management, there's a very beautiful saying: if you are on time, it means you're late. If you're early, it means you're on time.
Yeah.
And that's an ethos which I've seen only in the Indian Army. If 8 o'clock means 8 o'clock, because in a battlefield, even a fraction of a second can cost somebody a life, right?
Yeah.
So that discipline came in right from the NCC days. And happy to share with you that Vikram was also an NCC C certificate. He ended up representing the Punjab Directorate on 26th of January 1994 Republic Day Parade. And for 2 consecutive years, he was declared as the best cadet of the Punjab Directorate. So he was very disciplined, and I didn't see too many changes because, since we had decided that we want to become the army officer, the discipline had started right from the time of your preparation only. But yes, one thing which I would say, which very, very well I remember, was that when he was posted in Baramulla, not in Baramulla exactly, he was posted in a place called Sopor, which is a part of the district Baramulla, and it used to be a hotbed of terrorism during those 97-98 days. And Vikram was, a part of the insurgency operation. If you've seen the movie, there's a mission, which you would have seen, where he kills a terrorist named Haider. And that incident Vikram had shared personally with me when he had come on a chutti. And, Vikram was a very daring officer. He always used to read in the front. And I remember when he came down to Palampur on a chutti, So, it was, I found him to be a little upset. I said, I'm seeing you very upset. What happened? He said, I went for an operation. And of course, it was a night time. And during the ambush, he was leading with 3 of his men. And a bullet came, it sneaked through his ear.
Oh.
And the soldier behind him, it hit him on the head and he lost his life. And at that point of time, Vikram decided, that he's going to shoot these militants, both the militants. And he made it a point that by the early morning next day, he had killed both the terrorists. And what he told me that day, Gaurav, was that, when you join the army, while it's a very beautiful saying, you're always in a line of fire.
Yeah.
But he said, once you join an army, a bullet is made by your name.
Yeah.
Now, whether that bullet hits you or it doesn't hit you is a destiny.
Correct.
Right. So Vikram, believed that in the army when he had joined that career, it is not about your individual self. And I think the ethos of your Indian Military Academy when you pass out, the safety, honor, and welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and ease of the men you command comes next, and your own safety, comfort, comes last, always and every time. I think that's what I saw a change in Vikram, because that's the oath, what a commissioned officer takes when you pass out of the Indian Military Academy. So those were, very, very highly remarkable changes in terms of his leadership style, leading from the front, taking care of the men. Though he was a very loving human being, even among the French circle, he was called as a Yaron ka Yar. So I think he typically, whatever, traits he had during his childhood or during his studentship, I would say, he continued with those softer skills of the humanity towards a soldier is what I believe in.
Amazing, Vishal. This was really amazing. I'll again pick 2-3 lines from Shabir Bhai's movie Shesha.
Sure.
या तो मैं तिरंगा फहरा के आऊंगा, या मैं तिरंगे में लिपट के आऊंगा, पर मैं आऊंगा जरूर. These were the words by our Shesha.
Yes.
So how was the reaction at home when you heard about Kargil war? There was a lot of chaos, a lot of news were coming. So please share the family moments with us. How was it for the family when the kid of the family is at the war front?
So I'll talk on 2 points here. One, when he went on to take his first mission, right? And of course, this thing happened with one of our very dear friends, Sunny, who used to be Vikram's table tennis partner in doubles. He's a practicing lawyer in the district courts in Dharamshala. And that is the time when, Kargil had just got, onto the news, and Vikram was already moving to a place called Shahjahanpur in UP. But of course, looking at the overall situation in the Kargil, the entire forces were directed to move towards Kargil. And that point of time, of course, he had said, "Ya to tiranga lehra kar aunga, ya lipat kar aunga, par aunga zarur." Of course, it became a very famous line for him. But we never thought that he's not going to be back. And I'll tell you why do I say this. When Vikram was writing letters from the war field, and that was the only means of communication, because mobile phones used to be very expensive. I had just started my corporate career. I was working in Delhi. And the first mission, when he captured 5140, and I'm sure the entire world knows when he radioed a beautiful message, "Ye dil mange more," which typically caught the fancy of the people, that how a young guy of 24 on those mighty peaks of 17,000 feet can think of that he still wants to capture more bunkers, right? So he had written, Gaurav, in one of the letters that you'll be happy to know that I've been recommended for a Mahavir Chakra. And he was getting congratulatory calls directly from the chief of the army staff, from the DGMO, which is Director General Military Operations. And he had mentioned in that letter, I remember it so well, you'll be seeing my interviews in media, television, because there was a very famous interview which was done by Barkha Dutt. And he had written that I would love to see those clippings, and please ensure that you keep a copy of it. When I'm back, I would like to see it. So nowhere we also thought that he's going to come back, because just 5 days before we lost him, a beautiful Times of India, front page, 2nd of July, 1999, he was at the front page, captured though, he had captured that anti-aircraft gun in the first mission. We never thought that he's not going to come back. But yes, if you'll ask me that, did we have a fear? It was not a fear, Gaurav, I'll say. It was some kind of an uncertainty when you were looking so many coffins are coming over.
Yeah.
That it doesn't happen with you, because the first casualty of the Kargil war, Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia, right, who was badly mutilated along with 5 of his fellow soldiers,
yeah.
right, and their mutilated bodies were sent home. And let me tell you, Gaurav was Saurabh Kalia was our junior by 3 years in the school. Right, at that point of time, somewhere, it's a human mind, right? It can think any way, right? And that time, thoda sa laga tha ki yaar kahin aisa na ho, Bhagwan na kare ki, aisa ho kuch. But the way he was, really showing his bravery, his courage, his valor, we thought he's going to come back, right? And we were dealing it very, very, with a lot of confidence. And yes, on 26th of June, when mom and dad got a chance to speak to him, because each of the officers was given a satellite phone to speak to mom and dad. You would have seen that in the movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
He called up dad, or dad ko usne bola ki I have captured. So dad mistook it that he's being captured by the enemy. So dad got very, very upset. So he could sense that, no, he said that, dad, don't worry, I'm not got captured. I have captured a peak, right? So that of course, dad was relieved that, of course, because unfortunately we had seen this episode of Saurabh Kalia. So you always had that slight fear. I would not be lying to it.
Yeah.
But since we were seeing the TV all around, and we thought that he's going to come back. And in reality, what happened that even when I got the news, unfortunately, on that fateful day of 8th of July, because we lost him on 7th, I got a call on 8th of July. And when I got the, a telephone call that, and it said like, आपके भाई साहब को गोली लगी है. तो मुझे भी इतना confidence था कि he's not a guy who will go with a single bullet.
Yeah.
So, my first response was, I hope वो ठीक है ना? तो उन्होंने बोला कि नहीं साहब वो नहीं रहे.
Oh.
And you won't believe it, Gaurav. Even then, I didn't lose my confidence. I said, Vikram is not a guy who will go like this. And I was, of course, a young guy, 24, working as an executive trainee with a corporate house in Delhi. And incidentally, I knew one of the very senior guys, Major General Chadha, I still remember him. I had his number and immediately picked up a phone call on him. Uncle, hi, this is Vishal calling up. And I just got a anonymous call because the guy didn't disclose the identity who gave me a call. And I said, I just got a news. I don't know who's the person who's giving me a call. He said that Vikram ko goli lagi. And then uncle broke the news to Vishal. Yeah, it's a sad day for us. We lost the bravado Vikram. So kahin laga nahi tha ki wo news aane ke baad bhi tha ki nahi, he's a guy who's going to come back. But of course, those were the tough times, let me tell you. And anyhow, those 22 years have been very tough, emotional, and with a lot of pain around, but a lot of pride also around.
No, I can, it's very difficult to describe in the words and the sacrifice and what he has done for the nation. And it was him and his team which sort of, which took the courage
Absolutely,
of capturing those bunkers, without which the war could not have been ended.
Absolutely, yes.
So Vishal, I'm sure the journey, like you said, was very challenging, the 22 years. In this journey, one fine day you get the call from Shabir Bhai and sort of, this all started, he shared the idea. So how was your reaction when he first approached you for the movie, for the biopic of Vikram? Was it somewhere in the mind that, this story will someday be converted into a movie? How did it all happen? Please share your, experience on that with us.
Sure. I think, first of all, with all humility, I think Shabir Bhai has been a wonderful human being. I think one of the finest human being because, when you look into this kind of an industry, you don't even know the people and you don't know how this industry works. So we had knitted a dream, me and dad had knitted a dream in 2015 to do two things. One dream was to write a book on Vikram, right? And second was to make a movie. And the first dream of writing a book, it was a tribute from a father to son. And the book is titled as Paramveer Vikram. So it was, it took a shape in 2017-18 when we ended up, unveiling the book written by dad. And it was unveiled by the wife of the former chief of the Indian Army, General Devendra Singh Suhag in Delhi. So that first dream came true. And then second dream, of course, was to get him on a screen. And we thought that, the kind of the bravery, valor, courage, grit, passion, what Vikram had shown, somebody will definitely make a movie on him because, of course, you were seeing a patriotism coming up, Uri movie came in. And then just happened that out of the blue, I get a call from, Shabir Bhai. And generally, I don't take the, I don't pick up the unidentified numbers. And then Shabir Bhai had sent me a text. I remember it. Hi, Vishal, this is Shabir Boxwala. And of course, we had heard of his group, which was earlier, named as the Friday Sunday Entertainment, right? And Mora was the first movie when he came up with. So I said, this name sounds very, very familiar. And then, of course, we chatted at length. And he said, Vishal, I have a dream of making a movie on Vikram and can I come and visit you? And I think that's where 2016-17, it's almost 5 years now that the journey started. And from there, of course, I met Shabir Bhai. I explained and everything. We traveled a lot more together to Palampur, to Dehradun, to IMA, to Mussoorie, to Kargil, to Dras, to Leh, to Pengongso Lake. I don't know where all, Shabir Bhai traveled with me between 2016 to 2018. And then, of course, we ended up meeting and Shabir Bhai told me that, Vishal, let me get a director. And of course, he got in touch with Dharma and, we got the director and the script writer. Then I traveled along with the director and the script writer. Script writer went and spent 10 days in Palampur. He met mom and dad. They met all other fellow officers of Vikram. And then finally, thanks again to Shabir Bhai, that we were still contemplating that who's the guy who can best do the job, because we wanted a young guy who could look like 24, right? And it is thanks again to Shabir Bhai that he ended up arranging a meeting with Siddharth. And me and dad met Siddharth. You know, you'll be amazed to know that we met Siddharth on 24th of December 2016. It's almost 5 years now, right?
Yeah.
And from there on, you know, when we interacted with Siddharth, we realized he's a young guy who has a charismatic personality, and of course his familiarity also when you look at Vikram, and Vikram is young, is also very, very similar.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course it was in the hands of the producer, which is of course the Shabir Bhai and Dharma, and you know, and that's where the journey started, and it took almost close to 4 years. And it was always my dream that, you know, what Vikram has done, I think its story should be heard by every Indian, because unfortunately, you know, today when you look at the corporate world, and it could be while I'm a part of the corporate world, Gaurav, but I can tell you that I still have the same passion. I've been living my army life through Vikram, right? I work very closely with the Indian Army. I have a lot of friends. In fact, you know, I would have 70% of my friend circle coming in the armed forces. I've seen their life so closely. And thanks to Vikram that, you know, I've been to a lot of places where you end up meeting the army guys only, right? So that passion of, you know, donning the uniform at my own end was also something which I had to carry on. And I thought, what a better way to carry Vikram's legacy, you know, when we can get him on the screen like this. And thanks to Shabir Bhai, you know, and I'll always say that, you know, while it's a joint co-production for Dharma and Shabir Bhai, but for me, it is a Shabir Bhai who basically took the initial charge of, you know, making a movie on Vikram. And here we are today that, you know, everybody's talking about Shesha.
No, definitely, Vishal, and you know, as we all know, Shabir Bhai, he's a seasoned movie maker.
Absolutely,
and,
yes.
You know, at the same time, he's a really nice human being.
Yes.
Whatever limited my interaction with Shabir Bhai, I always find him like a, you know, gem of a personality and
absolutely, yes, no doubt.
Great friend. So on my request, he sort of, you know, so I was trying to get in touch with you. So I requested him, is it possible that I can get in touch with Vishal? So he immediately connected me. So, you know, it was really lovely interacting with you. Vishal, you know, after this amazing journey, like, you know, you have seen the corporate world, you have seen the army side of it. You know, what will be your message for IITians who are mostly part of the corporate world, as entrepreneurs, as, you know, as part of leadership roles in corporates? What message would you like to give on this Independence Day to IITians across the world?
I don't know if I'm in the right position to give a message, but only I can share, Gaurav, because I'm sure some of the alumni will be very, very senior to me, right? And I'm not from that esteemed institute, you know, like an IIT, but of course, I can only share a few things what I learned from Vikram's life. One is, of course, it doesn't make a difference whether you don a uniform or you don't don a uniform, because you have to manage the right ecological system in the environment, right? So somebody's meant to be a Fauji, somebody's meant to be a corporate guy, somebody's meant to be a civilian, somebody's meant to be a bureaucrat, right? I think these are the things which are primarily, my belief has been, is destined by the Almighty who's looking, you know, at all of us right from the top, right? But what I learned from Vikram's life is the commitment towards any profession what you are into, right? Is something, you know, I'm sure each one of us is committed the way we are being into the corporate world. So one is the commitment towards the profession we are. Second thing only I can leave is that, you know, in whatever form we can give it back to the society today, right? You know, like I'll share my own personal dream. You know, when you look at the valor of these people and where do I come from, you know, for this message is, you know, when I traveled to, you know, Gaurav, Kargil for the first time in 2009, because 2009 was we were celebrating a decade celebration, right? I never visited those peaks for 10 years. You know, Vikram, we lost Vikram in 99. I could have easily traveled. But when I traveled for the first time, believe you me, I always end up believing, you know, somebody should go and look at those places to see what the Indian Army and Indian Forces do for us. You know, 17,000 feet, you know, less oxygen.
Yeah.
The peak, you know, temperature, you know, in the winters is highest recorded temperature is -65 in Dras. And it is the second coldest inhabited place in the world. Yeah. Whatever little we could do towards these men in the uniform in any form, you know, by either adopting their kids, by giving some small contribution towards the NGOs which work very closely with the war veterans or the war widows, I think we would have done a job. Reason is today, in case we can breathe freely, it is somebody who's protecting the motherland. Right.
Yeah.
Today, if you look at the situation in Afghanistan, right? The Taliban is just 40 kilometers away from Kabul, right?
Yeah,
Despite the fact they have the Afghanistan army, right? So my belief is, I think these are the people, where the stories and valor of each of these soldiers, right? It is not about Vikram alone. I'll be very honest with this. Story is a depiction of every young Indian soldier, and I'm talking about all the 559 soldiers who lost their life in the Kargil war, and also about those 1,600 soldiers who got injured.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what, in case we can do, as a corporate citizens towards these people, I think we would have done a job. Right. Everybody is doing the job in their own form, but I think that's what we can least do for these people to realize that what they do for us. And that's the reason, I always, my favorite line is, from the quote of the Indian Army, Gaurav, is that when you go home, tell them of us, we gave out today for your tomorrow. So what best way to repay to these soldiers in any form, right?
Yeah.
Is the only thing I can request all the IT guys, because I'm sure each one of us in the corporate world, and it is not to do with anything to do with the monetary. I'll be very, very candid with you. It is only to do, even in case you see a soldier, you can just give a salute and respect. I think we would have done our job, is what I believe.
No, I completely agree. And, whenever we see any soldier, though mostly they are on the, other side of the, geographically, they are not very near to civilians.
Yes.
But whenever we see them around, like in trains or somewhere nearby, generally, a lot of respect come out, and, we always just want to say some salute to them.
Absolutely.
It reflects on our face. It reflects within that,
Yes.
they are really doing a lot, far, far away from their families.
Absolutely, yes.
Doing so much for the nation. So Vishal, we have received some queries, as
Sure.
questions from the audience.
Please, go ahead.
So somebody has asked, what's your favorite dialogue from the movie Shersha?
Of course, Ye Dil Mange More.
Shabir bhai, same is a query from you also. What's your favorite moment from the movie Shersha? You are on mute. Shabir bhai, you are on mute.
My favorite, which gets me teary every time, is, या तो तिरंगा लहरा के आऊंगा या तो तिरंगा में लिपट के आऊंगा. So
yeah,
it really touches my heart.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And mine is, ये मेरी चीज है और मैं अपनी चीज वापस लिए बिना नहीं जाऊंगा.
Yeah. That's a nice, yes. That's a childhood, scene. Yeah.
So, as a childhood, like you shared, even while Kalpen sir, our president, he was interacting with General Saab, and General Saab mentioned that वो screw एक ढीला होता है कुछ soldiers में, और वो screw शायद बचपन से ही ढीला होता है.
And he mentioned about Vikram also, because his son has decided to join the army, which is fantastic, and he didn't want him to, but he still wanted to be in the army.
And I think it is not the career
Batra jaise pagal hote hain.
It is basically blessings which one gets, a kind of guidance since beginning, or maybe due to some environment, some family guidance or something, because it is really difficult to sort of, get into that kind of zone that you decide to join the army. So I would say the people who are getting this kind of environment or guidance, they are really lucky to serve the nation in form of an army.
So true.
Yeah. So now I would hand it over the session to Natasha to take it on the closing remarks. And finally, if we have some queries, suggestions from the audience, we'll take up in the Q&A session. So Natasha, over to you.
Thank you, Gaurav. So there are no questions, just praises for the movie in the chat as well as in the Q&A part. So I think we do not have any questions to be taken care of from that part. But I was just listening, and I remember, as I live in Pathankot, which is like Asia's biggest army tent.
Yes.
And I remember even now when I see students who are, just coming out of your school after the school ends, every time a army truck pass, we see and we salute. And people sit behind it, and the soldiers are so happy. They'll say wave bye to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's very, very good. and we do it. It's like every school kid does it here, and it's
Yeah.
a really thrilling and good thing that we do here. And I just remembered that when we're talking about it.
That's a nice to hear. Natasha, that's a nice to hear.
Closing today's session, I would request our secretary, Rakesh Bansal, to give the closing remarks.
Thank you, Natasha, for handing over to me. I mean, it was such a wonderful session, and I would like to once again thank all the panelists, all our guests of today. Once again, I thank Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey for being here and sharing his thoughts and saying so much motivational words for us. Mr. Shabir Boxwala, thank you so much for being us and sharing your thoughts. You have, I mean, it's a wonderful movie that you have made, and I must say that I saw it first day on Prime Video, and it was. I was really waiting for it to get released, and I was really thrilled to see the movie. So Mr. Vishal Batra has taken time out from his busy schedule today to take us through the life of Mr. Vikram Batra, Captain Vikram Batra. He's such a wonderful soldier for the country and such a revered person. And we all salute to Captain Vikram Batra and to his family.
Thank you so much.
For giving such a wonderful child soldier to our pride. And as part of myself, I was also part of the Kendriya Vidyalaya. So that is one thing that makes me feel proud today.
Sir, thank you so much.
Shabir bhai,
I think since Rakesh sir is traveling, we are having a little connectivity issue.
Yeah, I think I'll just continue from where Rakesh has left. Unfortunately, we are not able to hear him, but I must admit on behalf of probably population at large, there is a great deal of deep-rooted respect for the men in uniform. And I think we can see this all across the country. Smallest of village you see, and people would have that coming out voluntarily. No one has taught the kid to respect the soldier, but whenever they see any person in a uniform, I think that respect comes out. We adults, of course, we have an enormous sense of gratitude and sense of appreciation for what is happening, why we are where we are, and how much obliged we are to people who are fighting this territorial integrity war. Whenever there's a situation demands, they rise to the occasion and ensure that we people are comfortably placed. And therefore, as Vishal rightly said, I think there is a small unwritten obligation that we all carry, that we need to do whatever we can for army people, their children, their war widows. And I'm also aware of gentleman. In fact, he has a very interesting initiative. I think Colonel Mohammad Afroz, he runs a concept called Honor Point. Honor Point actually goes to small villages, towns, and identifies the unsung war heroes. There are so many. There are thousands who probably we don't come to know about. Of course, there are extreme cases of Captain Vikram Batra, which goes into history. And that's a case of extreme valor and bravery in face of probably the toughest situation that one can face. But there are many others. As Vishal rightly said, it's not only one person, it's a whole unit, it's a whole army, and generations of them who have really sacrificed themselves, put them in the line of fire, and of course, protected the rest of the nation and the residents. So we do owe you. We owe you sincerely, and we owe you with absolute gratitude. The whole country is grateful to you, and we are grateful to people like Sabir Bhai who actually take it to masses. And I must honestly admit there are people who probably are rather than the generation which probably does not have that sense of appreciation for what has happened in the independence struggle or freedom fighters or all kinds of persons who have laid down their lives and sacrificed their family comforts. I think we need more such effort. Shabir bhai, we wish you all the best. If you are indeed making any such further effort, I wish you are successful. Your message should certainly go to masses. I'm sure Shesha will certainly take Captain Vikram Batra in every household. I personally believe he has already reached there, but I wish they see it in a slightly different dimension also. Thank you very much, Vishal.
Thank you so much, sir.
It was an emotional journey, I'm sure, but even all of us, we feel what you could have felt then. And we are very grateful to you, your family, your courage, and the way you have been able to negotiate this 20 years, still tell the story with the same enthusiasm, same energy. You relive Captain Vikram Batra every moment, and we really salute this sentiment. It's only an army person and his family can do it. So nice of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for making part of this.
Thank you very much. Thanks all of you. And we thank all the participants who have joined us. In case if anybody wants to interact with Vishal or Shabir bhai, please raise your hand. We'll give you an opportunity after we close this ceremony formally. So I'll just hand over to Natasha. And Natasha, we will have our national anthem and then we can open the session for everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vishal. Thank you, Shabir. It was a great. Thank you, Gaurav, for moderating. I would just request everyone to stand for the national anthem now. Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Uttara Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे Thank you, everyone. So officially, I am closing the event, but however, we can have an informal interaction session. So I have one of the attendees have raised hand, so I'll allow them to ask you questions and interact. I have added.
You can please stop.
Natasha, I think Mr. Madan wants to.
Now.
Yeah, I have promoted him to the panelist list, so he can interact.
So Shabir bhai, one query we have
Natasha,
received.
meanwhile, I will request you to stop recording now.
Shabir bhai, one query we have received.